Hello friends and welcome back. I'm Nick. This is MSFS Flight Plans and yep, we are flying in 2024 and we're going to stick with it. After picking up all these shattered pieces of my dreams for what this would be like, I've decided we're going to make the best of this, and I'll explain my rationale about all that in just a minute. But today we are in Indonesia to check out one incredible volcano called Mount Rinjani, and we're going to do it in the 500E because it's one of the few helicopters that appears to be fully functional at this point. And since we can do it now, I'm going to walk around this thing and take a look at it. Looks pretty good. I went ahead and started it up just so we wouldn't have to deal with all that for fear that something there wouldn't work properly, so it started up. But this is cool. So obviously, as I was saying before, and as you guys all probably know now, on the ground, everything looks amazing. Accurate vegetation for the region of the world. Everything is extremely detailed. As you're going to see when we fly over this stuff, we'll take some low passes. Looks really good. I was not having the same performance issues we were having in that first review flight that I put up there, so I think, as I suspected, that was probably a bandwidth issue. Things seem to have improved quite a bit, as you're going to see. But this is cool. Looks real cool down here on the ground. I don't know how much time I'll be spending on the ground since this is a flight simulator, but it's a neat option if you want to get out there and look around at things. Okay, it took me forever to figure out how to get in this thing, so it is the button E if you haven't mapped it to something else. And as you can see, look, my head tracker's working. It's just Christmas every day now. You know what, let's go ahead and get the live weather set too while we're here. I think I have it on live, but there were more clouds before, so we'll just check it out. Live weather. Alright, well, we'll just see how that looks. And I apologize, I know in that video I kept talking about my frame rates. I can see it on my screen, but I guess it doesn't record, so I was just kind of posting it as I was seeing it. I'm glad I did it during that flight. But for this whole trip, I went ahead and just turned it off. The frame rates were perfectly fine. This isn't any photogrammetry out here, but it looks pretty good, maybe because of that. So you're going to see what this looks like as we get up in the air. But let's go ahead and do that. Oh, you know what? Let's do a little nav map real quick. I'll just show you where we're going. By the way, little nav map is working now. Almost completely working. I can't import all of the airports yet, so if you wanted to try to do that, you would go up here to Scenery Library, load Scenery Library, but at this point, it's not, even though it's bringing the helicopter in, as you're going to see, it's not recognizing the Scenery Library from 2024 yet. I know that Alex is working on that just as quickly as he can, so I'm sure that will be working pretty soon, but it'll track my helicopter, it'll show me the wind and all that stuff, which is great. So here's where we are. That's Indonesia there. We're coming down here to Lombok, which is the name of this island, and just in case you guys want to keep flying in 2020 for a while, which I certainly understand, I'm going to continue to post flight plans for you. But because I can't load the helipad where we're at, and by the way, in 2024, there are thousands of helipads everywhere, which is really, really cool, because you know how sparse they are in 2020. So I think anywhere there could possibly be a helipad in real life, now you've got them in the sim. So the one we're leaving from is right down here somewhere. But I can't start there because I can't import it. So if you want to try to fly this and see what we're going to see, here's the volcano over here. I connected it all up to this airport over here. So we're just going to fly past these islands, cruise on up here because it's a little bit of a hike and we have to climb a bit. And this thing is right at the limit. As you're going to see, there's two peaks up here. This top one is right at the limit, at least according to the sim of this helicopter, at around 13,000 feet. So I don't think we're going to fly all the way up to the top of that. That'll leave you something to do if you want to come check it out. But we're going to come around here, look at this little guy, and then land somewhere over here. We'll take a look at the lake and all that kind of stuff. So that'll be really, really cool. That's what we're going to do. Probably a pretty short flight. Okay, get that parked over there. Zoom back in a little bit. Well, I said all that, and now little NavMap is not tracking it, which is fine, because all you have to do is look for the huge mountain and then point yourself at it. Okay, so let's go ahead and get up in the air and get going. Let me get one more thing squared away over here. Alright, we're good. And here come those particle effects. So the only thing, this is the Cowansim 500E, and I think some of my marketplace purchases, some of my planes still haven't shown up in the sim yet. And one thing that's different about this, the flight modeling, I just saw Bella242 posted, who's a real helicopter pilot, member of our channel, posted a vid, and he said that he really likes the flight modeling. And having never flown a real helicopter, I can't comment on that, but if he does and says it's good, I believe it. It feels pretty good. But for some reason, look at our window. All these swirls, and if the sun is not hitting it right, it's so bad you can hardly see out the window. Look at that fingerprints and everything all over it. I'm just kind of circling around now so you can kind of get a good look at that, and it disappears now. But I'm sure that old JD at flightsim.to will post a add-on eventually that will remove all that so there won't be so much swirling on these windows, because as you can see down the bottom, look at that. It's all over the place. Okay, so it's going to take the H-125 originally. My trims aren't working. And I know they're working because they work here in this helicopter, so some of the functionality of some of the helicopters still isn't working. And just real quick while out here, these are all called the Gili Islands. I think that's how you pronounce that. Collectively known as the Gili Inda, which translates to small, beautiful islands. and you can see they really are. Okay, so one upgrade from 2020, some people were complaining about the water masking. I think that down there, although not total masking, looks pretty good. Yep, we got some sunken docks, but that was in 2022, unless you had the add-on that fixed that. But you can't see those faint little lines anymore on anything. I think the shorelines do look better, in my opinion. And one thing that's also a definite upgrade on that other flight we took, we were only flying over photogrammetry cities. I think the default buildings look better and more believable in this too. We saw some of them when we were in Ethiopia because that wasn't photogrammetry. But I think these look pretty believable. I mean, they do look like default buildings, but they're not just quite as bland as they were in 2020. And again, the trees do look good. Really good. But it sounds like all these islands are all about tourism, with all kinds of resorts out here in real life. But they haven't been populated for a really long time. In fact, the former inhabitants before tourists started coming out here was the Japanese during World War II, who made some POW camps out here. And on that big island that we just circled over, there's supposedly a bunker somewhere, but I couldn't find it, unfortunately. And another interesting point is that they don't allow motorized vehicles out here. So if you're going to be scooting around, you got to do it either on foot, bicycle, or horseback, or horse-drawn carriage. Looks good. Looks really good. Okay, the clouds did come back, which is great, because if it looks like it did on my test flight inside this volcano, it's going to be really, really cool. I've also noticed there's some variance in the radio masts. You can see that that looks like one we have never seen in 2020. They had all kind of the standard red and white ones in there. That might not even be a radio mast. I don't know what that is. Look at that. But it is different. Okay, so why am I continuing to fly in 2024? I put a little post on our community tab just to kind of let you guys know what I'm thinking. Now that I'm done throwing my tantrum, I've gotten it all out of my system, and just to kind of encapsulate what I put on our community page. Where's the volcano? It's behind the clouds up there. All right, well, this will be interesting. Once we get up there, we'll see what that looks like. This will be the first time I've actually flown into clouds. But obviously with 2020, yes, most of the world looks better, substantially better than 2024. Some of these guys posting these reviews on YouTube are like, this is the most incredible thing I've seen. What a huge upgrade from 2020. I don't know what they're talking about. I really don't know what they're talking about. Maybe they just never really looked at the ground close in 2020. But I have been scouring the world looking for good places to show you guys. And I'll tell you why in just a minute, but this isn't even close, most of it. But I believe it's going to get there. And the thing is, of course, they're going to stop doing updates. They're going to maintain 2020 till 2028, they said. But it would be in their best interest to push people over to 2024 as quickly as possible, and I'm sure they're going to be having all of the modders and the devs start pumping out stuff for this sim. So this one's just going to continue to get better, and 2020, as good as it is now, is probably not going to improve anymore from this point, because the Sobo is not going to want that to happen because they want everyone to come over here, which I totally understand. So in light of that, I know some of you guys are probably watching this channel just to see what my take is, see how everything's looking, because all we do is look at stuff on this channel. You can follow along. I'll keep you posted on how the technical side is evolving to the extent I understand it, which is fairly limited. But definitely how I perceive the graphics are coming along. And for all of you that have decided to go ahead and plunge into 2024 like I have, I am going to try to find the best looking spots in the world so that you don't feel frustrated when you fly over places like Niagara Falls. Don't even do it. Do not go to Niagara Falls. Don't go to Victoria Falls. Niagara Falls is the worst disaster I have ever seen. I don't know how the heck they even got it to look like it does, but it is truly a disaster. But I'm going to find the best looking spots we can find, and on that point, I'm going to need y'all's help. If you find a place in 2024 that looks really cool, this was a member recommendation, just got it today, checked it out, and it does indeed look amazing. So let me know. If you find the cool spots, we'll go check them out, because I want to give you guys things to do while they bring all the cities up to speed, start getting the modders to work, start doing updates for everything. We're just going to ride it out, because as I mentioned in that last video, this is going to be the future of the sim. And I think kind of the framework of it, the baseline framework, is probably superior to the baseline framework of 2020. It's just that the graphical side is not up to speed, and we're still within 48 hours of launch. Yes, they should have definitely gotten things hammered out, because there's a lot of stuff that's just not working as it should, despite the bandwidth issues. But when you set those timelines that far in advance, there's all kinds of things that you just can't change. And I guess you kind of get yourself stuck in it, so it is what it is. And I wasn't around when 2020 first came out, but I've heard a lot of people say that 2020 was a little bit rough when it came out too, so that's probably to be expected. The graphical disappointment was my big thing, because they were really framing this as something that would just be a massive upgrade across the board, and that it definitely was not. And I think they probably knew that, which is why they were not showing any footage of cities, big landscape areas. And I think I just probably would have felt better if they said, hey, this is all going to get a lot better. Here's what we're going to come out with at the launch. Just bear with us. We're going to work on it. It's going to be so much better than 2020, instead of just not talking about it and then leaving us with this huge case of buyer's remorse. Looks like we got some fall trees over there. I did try the map enhancement. Someone told me that was working. I couldn't really tell much of a difference, and it may have even messed up a couple of areas, so I pulled that back out. So I'm going to hold off on that until I can confirm it's working. Now, we do have power line pylons, but I don't see any power lines coming off of that. But at least they're up there. Boy, I'm a big fan of these trees, though. Despite the fall colors over there, which you would never see in Indonesia, having these lifelike trees is a nice touch. And once we land up here, we're going to get out and walk around again, which is actually really, really cool. I mean, you could have done it with a drone view before, but when you're standing in this crater, checking all that stuff out, it's really neat. Okay, so a little bit about Mount Rinjani, and I think I am pronouncing that correctly. I need to figure out how to turn that off. I think I need to go back to the legacy setting where things won't turn blue when I hover over them. I did figure out how to turn off my ATC, which was nice. This is an active volcano, and it is the second highest in Indonesia, with a peak of 12,224 feet. The highest in the country, by the way, if you're curious, is Mount Cowansim, which is on the island of Sumatra, where I bet you can get a great cup of coffee. But that was just 200 feet taller than old Rinjani here, so not much more, and doesn't look as cool in my opinion. This is a very compound crater. Lots of stuff going on in here. So if you look down below the trees, yeah, you get the splotchy stuff, but I think probably out here where there's not real good satellite coverage, you'd get that anyway. There's a lot of spots in the US where they obviously have great coverage, where there are big, big patches of just flat photographic trees, which I'm sure will also get fixed eventually. We're not going to take any flights over there. I'm only going to try to show you guys the very best stuff that I can find. But aside from what you can see through the trees, this looks good. And not only that, I'm going to include a link to a lady that was hiking up here, up to this mountain, so you can see how accurate this really is. It looks quite a bit like this in real life, especially once we get up in that crater. All right, let's start climbing a little bit here. And a couple other things that I've noticed about this is, remember all those stretchy, droopy mountainsides that we saw in 2020? They're all over the place, so I'm sure you've seen them. I haven't really noticed too much of that out here, and you know, I was always griping about that. I don't know what the AI did or how they have evolved that, but let's trim down just a little bit so I don't have to go so high on that collective. But now they look like, you can tell there's a little bit of stretching, but they really look like they have relief, and they look like they're rocky and cliffy and all that wonderful stuff. So that's a huge improvement, really big, because that was just real disappointing when you fly out to a place in New Zealand or somewhere like that, really anywhere. See, look over there to the left, look at that. See the rough cliffs there? That probably would not have appeared in 2020. I'd bet money on it. That's nice. Another thing I like about this flight is you kind of go over the peaks and valleys. This is probably what Papua New Guinea should look like. You know, that's a great place we got to go check out, because that had so much photographic trees out there. That might be a huge step forward for 2024. So, of course, we'll check that out. All right, we're going to get a break in the clouds for the top of the mountain. That's going to be awesome. This is going to look really good as we're coming into this. So once we get up here, we are going to get a delightful little surprise. We're going to see this thing has two peaks, which I did show you on a little nav map. The main crater, the big one with the entire western side blown away, and then a smaller crater sitting down inside of a big lake called Segar Anak, which means child of the sea, which kind of sounds like a religious name, and it may be, because I think this is a holy mountain to the locals. And they said they called it that because it's the color of the ocean, and I don't recall, because I didn't know that when I flew out here before I researched it. We'll see if the water is as blue as the ocean. I just wasn't thinking about it last time. Yeah, having no idea what that looks like in real life, the autogen buildings are very believable. Very realistic looking. What a great area, guys. This is probably the 12th or so flight I've taken tonight. All of the others were so heartbreakingly, disappointingly bad. This is a real inspiration to me. This looks really good out here. Wait till you see this volcano. Another interesting point about this lake, when you see how small it is, you'll be shocked to hear that it is over 600 feet deep, which is really, really deep for a lake this size. And as I mentioned earlier, this one is still active. The most recent eruption was in 2010. And the one that formed the little cone that we're going to see in the middle of the lake, they said happened about 30 years ago. And if I was understanding the information on Wikipedia correctly, it sounds like this whole island didn't even exist 800 years ago. So this is definitely a very volcanically active region of the world. In fact, we're only about 100 miles, let's see, I guess, west of Mount Tambora, which we checked out on one of our flights last year, the first time I came down with COVID, as a matter of fact. I went and watched that a couple weeks ago. Man, I sounded awful. I sound better now, even though I still have a cold. Yep, this isn't too bad. This really isn't too bad compared to what we would... of course, I didn't take this in 2020, so I don't know what it would look like by comparison, but I am not disappointed in this. This looks really nice out here. Really, really good. I can't wait to get out to Papua New Guinea. Okay, I need to find a little... There's going to be some ravines going into the side of the top of this mountain here. You know what? That's not our co-pilot. Who are you? That's not the guy that we had last time. I didn't change our co-pilot setting. I don't know who he is. It looks alright, though. What, are you nervous or something, buddy? It's alright. I got it. I'm a seasoned pro. I've crashed enough helicopters. I'm really good at it. But Mount Tambora, getting back to that real quick, just in case you didn't see that earlier flight, in April of 1815, that sucker literally blew its top, like, completely off. It was almost a mile taller before that thing erupted. And it would go down in history as the largest eruption that humans have ever experienced. And if you're around back then, you would have heard that blast while enjoying your cup of joe all the way up at the northern end of Sumatra, which is about 1,600 miles from here. Which I don't think is as loud as Krakatoa. I think they could hear that one like halfway around the world. But as far as destruction and death and all that, I think Tambora takes the cake, if I'm recalling correctly from that flight. Okay, I'm just kind of trying to see. Now we got these clouds up here, which will be fun to fly through. Where that little ravine is, because it looks so good. And as I mentioned last time, the weather effects, I think, are also a big upgrade. The lighting effects are a big upgrade. And again, the performance. I've heard from guys flying around in VR, it is head and shoulders above 2020. So it's just a waiting game at this point, guys. They will eventually catch up with the scenery. All of the planes will work. The marketplace will work. And as time goes by, just the infrastructure of streaming in general is going to get better, so I think we're in the right place for the future of simming. I know everybody's upset. I was too. I felt a little bit like I got sold a bill of goods, but it's going to come around. They could have done a better job with the rollout for sure, but it's going to come around. Let's see, we may have one more... Nope, I'm just going to come up over this one here. I really can't see through the haze if this is the nice-looking cliff, but all the others look good, so we're just going to take our chances. In 1997, Rinjani National Park was established in the area surrounding the volcano here. And it sounds like a real hot spot for hiking tourists. So check out that video that I'll link if you want to see someone hiking to the top of it. And man, the guys that... I don't think you call them Sherpas out here, but the guys that haul all your crap up there for you, they're walking around like flip-flops and stuff with all your stuff balanced on a pole on their shoulders. Pretty impressive. I wonder what the tipping starts at for those guys. Okay, let's look at these cliffs real quick. Alright, looking down there to the left, look at that. You can see the relief, look at that, right down there by the side of our pillar. I did pull the doors off, by the way, in case you couldn't tell, because that pillar is really thick with the doors on there. And I didn't really notice a difference in the sound with the doors on or off. Definitely a difference between standing outside and being inside of it. Look at that over there. So it's kind of blending between smoothness. We got a little bit of an airbrush look to it, but that's cool. That's really cool, and I hope we're going to see a lot more of that, and I'm sure we probably will. Yep, this is this ravine up here. So check out the sides of this as we're coming around. And it really does. I mean, you wouldn't think there'd be all these little trees up there, but the trees look pretty much like that. The airbrushing effect is a little bit of a bummer. But again, in this area, I bet it looks like that in 2020 also. But this volcano is amazing. Look at those cliffs down there. Oh, I love it. Thank you. Thank you for giving me something. Maybe I won't cry when I go to bed tonight. That is cool. So I wonder how the AI figures that out. Maybe it just looks for stretching and throws that stuff down there, which would be a nice little magic trick if that's what's going on. All right, I need to pay attention. So collective up a little bit. Climb this baby up here. Let's trim her down a little bit more. I got some forward pressure on the stick that I prefer not to have. Wait till you see this view once we come through this thing. So I don't know where the tree line would be. Obviously, we're in a pretty moist tropical area out here. And I bet they probably do grow pretty high up here. Now look at that. Look how close we are and it still looks good. That is nice. Are we even in the volcano? I don't know where we are. I can't see it on a little nav map, so I really don't know where we are. Alright, well, we're just going to keep following the biggest thing out here and see where it takes us. I thought that was it. We got more cliffs to look at, I guess. Which direction are we heading? East. Oh boy. Yeah, I think this is probably it over here. This is the problem with not having a little nav map. And where Garmin's working, but that doesn't do us any good because I can't see the terrain on that thing. Well, maybe this is it. I don't see anything else higher than this around here, and this volcano is the highest thing. Well, one of the things that we would have seen if we had followed the cliffs that I was looking for is the rivers also look better. The ones coming down the sides of mountains. It didn't look perfect. It didn't look like Clifford had built a river for us, but it looked a lot better than those weird jagged things that look like they're running almost vertically down the sides of it. What's our altitude? Oh, we're getting up there. Only 7,000. Well, if the top of that mountain is at 16,000... Shoot, we may not be anywhere even remotely close to it. We're going to find out. We'll get up to the highest area here, survey the landscape, and see what we're looking at. Watching that torque pressure. I'm just bringing that collective up some more so we can get to the top of this thing. I feel like we're getting a little bit of a stuttering, and it does seem like when you get closer to the trees, it does hit the frame rates a little bit. But I turned the graphics way, way up because I figured without any photogrammetry, we'd be in a better spot to do that. Yeah, I don't see anything higher than this, so we're going to roll with this for now. But this isn't even like halfway up to the... Well, we're more than halfway to the height of that volcano. Let's see what's over this cliff here. Maybe we're in the right spot. Well, now we're heading southeast. Oh, there it is. It's over there. Oh, is this the caldera? Well, look at that. We found it on accident. Okay, cool. All right, well, check this out, guys. We found it. We took the long route. Look at this. Look at the sides. No stretching, and wait till we get over there closer to it. If you get right down there close to the ground, see right in front of us, it looks like there's a little texturing. It does get flat and a little bit rough looking. And that orange-looking stuff coming out the side of it, that's really true to life. There's some kind of flow or something that happened over there that really looks like that. And the water does look pretty blue out here, doesn't it? Oh, is that a little stretching down the side right over there? Maybe. But this looks good. I'd say this looks good even by 2020 standards. Let's take a peek in the top of this thing. And then we'll set her down and hop out and look around a little bit. So when you get right up on it, it gets a little bit blurry. All of this, I'm guessing, will just improve. And I'm kind of wondering if when they do updates for this, you'll even have to do like a download. I wonder if since it's streaming, it'll just kind of be in there. Someone had posited that question earlier today. Look at how cool this looks. This is great, guys. This is the kind of stuff I want to see. What is that? There's like a fissure in the mountain right in front of us. See that? Like a hairline crack going down it. A seam of some kind. You see that? So I'm not going to take my chances because it'll take a while to get up to the top with this thing just in case it can't make it all the way up there. But we'll just do a lap around here and come down on the other side. Look at this view, guys. This is what I wanted to see. This is great. And there has got to be more spots in the world that look as good as this, so we're going to find them. We'll find something to do while they work on everything else. We'll keep ourselves busy. By the way, I got our first legitimate troll posted on that last review video I did. And he accused me, he used some very coarse language, and accused me of being a clickbait artist or something like that. And just when I was getting ready for a clever response, I found out he deleted it, which is a bummer. Which is a bit ironic because this might be the most un-clickbait channel in all of YouTube, but maybe he checked out some of our other videos. And if he did, maybe he became a member. So if you're watching, welcome to the channel. Sorry we got off on the wrong foot. Look at that. Oh, it looks good. It looks good. Yeah, not as crystal clear as some parts of the world, but I'm satisfied from where I was at 24 hours ago. Very satisfied. See, look at the sides up there. Look at that. That would all be stretched out, I bet, before, and it looks good now. That light brown area there right in front of us looks really good. And let me nose up some. See if we can land this baby in that green area down there, and then we'll hop out and walk around a little bit. Now, you would think that might be stretching in front of us, but I got closer to it before. It's not. It's got kind of graded striations. Yeah, it's even becoming clear as we get close to it. You see that? And I really haven't messed with the settings too much. I let guys like Island Sim Pilot tell me how to do that because he understands how that works a lot better than me, so I'm kind of waiting for those uploads to come on YouTube. But it's only going to get better from here, guys. Only going to get better from here. So when you fly over Niagara Falls, just remember there's also areas like this in the 2024 world. If you need a shot in the arm, we're going to find them all. Okay, I'm going to put her down. Let's see, that looks pretty flat right there. Good enough for me. And look how good the trees look. And as you get closer to the ground, the grass comes into view, and it starts blowing around and everything. Just lovely. There it is. Let's give it a little collective. Try not to crash. I'll try to find the flattest spot we've got out here. This looks pretty flat up here. I wonder what the wind's like inside this thing. This is the 500E, which is not easy to control as far as helicopters go, so I'm doing the very best I can. Bill242 said that the ground effect is much more realistic and pronounced, and I've noticed the same, which is kind of nice. So you don't just slam into the ground when you get closer to it. You do kind of hit that little cushion, which is certainly a treat. Okay, put her down. Just put her down, Nick. There we go. Okay, so let's see if I can remember how to shut this down. I did not print out my note card. We can start... What is that purple thing? I don't remember seeing that before. Whatever. Throttle down and just kill the fuel. That'll certainly do it. Okay, let me see if I can actually get out again. There we go. Yeah. Now this is cool. This is cool. Look at that. Again, you could have done it in the drone, but just feeling like you're actually walking around and seeing all the trees look so good. I mean, you really get the sense that you're just standing down here in the middle of this crater, which is just astounding. Look at that, guys. Look at that scene. So gorgeous. All right, I gotta pause here for a minute because that's where my thumbnail's gonna be. Yeah. Just beautiful. Okay, guys, so I'm... All right, look at this. Look at the swirls on the glass there. Why? Why would you do that? Who's like, man, I want more swirls on this thing. That's so unrealistic. It looks like I may have shattered the glass, too. We got something going on there. See that? Who wants that? Someone's going to fix that soon, I'm sure. Look at this. Just amazing, guys. Just amazing. Look at the clouds and everything. Okay, I really need y'all's help. When you find these kind of spots, you gotta let me know. We'll check them all out. I'll fly every single one of them. If you don't think it's up to snuff, I'll be the judge of that. Just keep dropping me the lines. We'll check it out. We're probably going to stay away from areas that have the cities and stuff for now. I can't stomach the photogrammetry looking like it does, but I'm sure the modders will send out some updates pretty soon, and then we'll start checking that out. But a lot of the landscape does look pretty good, as you can see. Just beautiful. That's it, guys. We actually managed to learn something, too. A little bit about Mount Rinjani. Great looking place. Go out here in real life, and definitely fly out here in 2024 if you need a shot in the arm. Can't wait to see you all in the skies. Later.